Welcome to this video. We're going to be revisiting the troglodytes and the word Africa, because I was watching a fellow YouTuber and I saw them using this map, and on this map we can see it says Troglodytae. We have these mountains here and it says Troglodytae, and we were speaking about the source Josephus Flavius, about how the nation of the troglodytes were derived from Abraham by Keturah, and it said how these descendants of Abraham took possession of Troglodytis and the country of Arabia the Happy as far as it reaches to the Red Sea. So now, looking at this map, I wonder, is this the Troglodytis that it's speaking about? So I wanted to show you that. And also we see here it says Babylon. Now we did that video a little while ago speaking about the connection between Egypt and Babylon. And we see here the city of Babylon. But I just want to clarify that those sources we were looking at weren't saying that this was the original Babylon. It was just an investigation to how old was the city of Babylon in Egypt. Now I just want to speak about Africa because in that video we were speaking about Ephod, the grandson of Abraham, and the story from Josephus about how he invaded Libya, and then his descendants that lived in that region of Libya, how they called Africa, they called it Africa after his name, Ephod. So according to Josephus, this word Africa coming from a descendant of Abraham. That's what we were speaking about. Now if we look at the etymology of what does this mean, just for our learning, just so we know what's happening here. This word Africa, what are we saying when we use that word? Because it says here that the Latin suffix ICA is sometimes used to denote a land. So when we say Africa, we're saying the land of the Afri. So that's kind of what it seems to be saying. And here we see that Afri is a Latin name used to refer to the inhabitants of the then known North Africa to the west of the Nile River, and in its widest sense referred to all the land south of the Mediterranean, ancient Libya. And we see on this map, if we go back, we can see, look here, Libya interior. So this is what they're speaking about, that this word Libya was used for a very large region, not just like the country that we know today. But what Josephus was saying is that these descendants of Abraham invaded and conquered Libya, and then his descendants called it Africa after Ephod. So maybe to some people it was known as Africa, but then to others maybe it still called it Libya. So that's maybe why I still have these two names. But what does this Afri mean? Because if we're saying the land of the Afri, we know that maybe now that's speaking to a people, so maybe these ancient Libyans. But what does it mean? And we have these two main ideas here. We have this Phoenician word afad, which they say means dust, but we also have a Berber word Ifri or Ifran, which means cave or cave dweller. Now this kind of seems to be relating to what we were speaking about with the troglodytes with this page. So it makes me wonder about this grandson of Abraham, being called Ephod, but we also know him as Ofren. Does that, is it a Berber name or is it a Semitic name? Because that might have a meaning, that might change what it means, or have an impact on what this name means. Now, something else I want to just share is I came across Scipio Africanus. You may have heard about him because some scholars try to use this source or this person to say that Africa is actually a foreign name, that it's not indigenous to the land. And we see here that it means the African. So why was he called the African? So you've got maybe two different ways of thinking about this. Maybe he's got African heritage, or like it says on this page, it's understood because he conquered Africa. So he conquered that land, and then that's why he became known as Africanus. So the people that they conquered, they must have known him as the Afri, and then called that land Africa. But did the people themselves call themselves the Afri? So that's also something to think about. What did the people refer to themselves? And I also came across the Banu Ifran. Now this is a Zenata Berber tribe, and Banu means sons of, so the sons of Ifran. So then who was this Ifran? Because it's interesting that we do have this character called Ifr, or we also know him as Ofren, and that Ofren is very similar to Ifran. So could this be connected? I was just wondering whether it could be connected. You know, this Banu Ifran, could they be the descendants of the grandson of Abraham? So just for a short video to help with our understanding of what we're speaking about, that, you know, when we use this word Africa, you know, it could be saying the land of the Afri, and it's speaking about the land to the west of the Nile. So Egypt is not included in Africa, you know, in what was in the ancient world. It wasn't actually included in what's known as Africa. But obviously things have changed since then, and now Africa applies to the whole continent. But I just think it's good for our learning that we kind of know what we're saying in these words, because this word Africa doesn't tell the whole story of the continent. You know, it's not a word that speaks for the whole continent, let's say, because it's mainly connected to the north, you know, these northern regions. You know, it's not telling the story of the whole continent. But to me, you know, we can see that it's a very ancient name. The source of this is a very ancient. You know, from this source with Scipio Africanus, it's at least we can see going back, you know, 2,300 years. But if the story of Josephus is true, then it's going back even further. You know, it's going back 3,500 to 4,000 years. So it's a very ancient. So the origin or the source of it, we could say, is very ancient. And it's, you know, if it's speaking about a people, you know, then the people, you know, the people that are indigenous to the land, then, you know, we can say that this word seems to belong to the land. You know, if it's, you know, it's describing the people. So let me know what you think about this video, and I just wanted to show you this map with Troglodytae and the city of Babylon that's on here that we were speaking of. And we see further south that we have the mountains of the moon. So in the next video I would like to do a video speaking about the Garden of Eden and the rivers coming out of the Garden of Eden, and maybe we'll mention the mountains of the moon. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.